What's up, friends? It's Scott Kumler, real estate coach and team leader. If you're a team leader or a top producing agent who feels like they want to start a team, then this video is for you. As I'm going to be discussing the number one thing that team leaders must dial in to build this team. Before I begin, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. I've got more training coming that'll help you if you're thinking about growing a team or if you're already a team leader and struggling to grow your team. And if you want to talk about what a partnership with me looks like, text me at 623-387-2688 or schedule a Zoom meeting with my calendar link below. Now let's get going. Now, like I said, I wanted to talk to you about the number one thing that team leaders must get dialed in order to grow a successful team. And that number one thing is onboarding, right? One of the biggest struggles that I find that team leaders make, especially when they first get into real estate, especially if they're still in production, is they don't have their onboarding process dialed in to provide training to their agents. And so typically what happens is a team leader, especially when you start growing a team, is you're still, your income is still reliant on your production. But then your agents need to be able to come in and plug in. And what happens is either one or two things happens. Either the team leader will stop producing to go ahead and train their agents, and they spend a bunch of time, hand-holding, mentoring, all that stuff, only for the agent to leave, or the agent doesn't have success, and then they don't end up creating income for themselves and their family. Or the other thing that could happen is an agent so focused on production that they don't give enough effort to their team and their agents that are within their organization. And those agents end up leaving because they feel neglected. They don't feel like anyone's helping them and they don't feel supported. And so the number one mistake that team leaders make, especially as a real estate agent or team leader in this industry, is they don't have their onboarding and training process dialed in. However, it doesn't have to be that difficult. You just got to take a little bit of time up front to go ahead and get your processes dialed in. Now, it is always fluid. There's things, especially in my business, there's things that I look at and say, okay, maybe this needs to be a little better, that needs to be a little better, and you can go ahead and change things. But you want to make it a simple process that doesn't require a lot of your time. And what I mean by that is you need to make sure you have a video library or video university put together that your agents can kind of plug into. So that way you don't basically have to go out there and you train them how to do something. Like, for example, I'll give you an example, right? For example, let's say you're running a CMA for a listing, and an agent comes up to you and says, hey, I need help running a CMA. Do you have time to show me that? Maybe you hop on a Zoom meeting, maybe you do it in person, but you go ahead and show them exactly how to run a CMA, and they're like, okay, great. They leave. You think you're good, right? Well, a week later, that agent will come back to you and say, hey, I know you helped me run a CMA last week. Can you help me again? I forget everything you did. And then you got to hop on another Zoom meeting. I see the same mistake happen with people that do in-person trainings, right? You train someone how to do an open house. You do it in person. They leave. They don't remember anything that you taught them, right? And so it's important to have that video library in place in order to help your agents and train them, so that way they can go back and they can rewatch any video. Like, for example, when I first got into real estate, open house was my big spiel, and that's typically what I went after. I would rewatch the open house training every single day until I mastered it, right? In order to master anything, it's that repetition over and over and over again. And so if you don't have your video library set up with your onboarding and training, you're going to struggle. And then the next thing, especially if you're a team that gives leads, there needs to be a testing process during that orientation. Like, I'll be, fully transparent with you. 50% of agents that enter our onboarding don't pass our onboarding, right? Because when you're interviewing an agent, especially whether it's a new agent or someone with a lot of experience, they may say all the good things. They may talk about how much of a hustler they are and all these things, but you never know, right? That's why I don't have any preconceived notions. I'll bring anyone on, right? Because I don't know whether they think they're going to be amazing or whether they think they are not going to be amazing. You just never know. I've had agents that I'm like, hey, this agent's going to crush it, ends up coming in, being, not producing at all, and basically disappear. And then I have the other agents that I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work out. I don't know if they're going to be that successful. Then it become my top producing agents. But when you're interviewing them to join your team, you have no idea what type of agent they're going to be. So it's important that you make sure you have that onboarding and training process dialed in, and then you have tests sprinkled in. You basically give them, tell them exactly what they need to do, but you don't need to worry about going out and checking in on them, because then it's their responsibility to make sure they do the activities. So I'm going to go ahead and actually show you my onboarding training program that I use for our agents within our organization. So that way you have a better idea of how to kind of build it out. And then also the value proposition. It's very important to have the value proposition. And so I'm going to kind of show you exactly what we do within our organization. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick. All right. So all of our training and onboarding is housed in school. Now, this is where basically everything's at, and every single day it'll tell them exactly what to do. Now, our agents have access to a lot of different training modules. So for example, in day one of onboarding, it tells them exactly what they need to do. They need to watch certain videos. And so we basically, because of our partners that we have here at EXP, we give all of our agents access to all Joshua Smith's training with GSD mode. We also give all of our agents access to Social Agent Academy, which is Mike Sherrard's training program, and also AI Agent Accelerator. All of our agents get access to all that stuff for free. And so what I've done is I basically kind of created an onboarding program on how we can go ahead and tell them exactly what videos to watch. So for example, here where it says watch Introduction, Mindset, Clarity, all that stuff, they click this link, this takes them to the video, and then all they gotta do is watch the video and then check off the boxes. Watch lifetime study video, right? They click this, boom, now take them to the video, then they watch a lifetime. Then on top of that, I have complete lifetime study documents. So you can see there, I'm also giving them activities to do. I'm not just saying watch this video, but the reason why I do that is I want to verify that they watched the video, and I want them to actually take action on that as well too. So I'm basically telling them, take action on this. So again, you kind of get down here, all the videos. At the end of the day, I say, send Scott an email with all these documents. I don't have to follow up with them because it tells them what to do, and then they're required to come to me, showing me all those documents, right? So I'm basically testing them and proving that they can do it. So for example, I give the lead, we're Zolflex team, I give our team leads. And so if someone can't do the simple process of following directions consistently, then that's kind of a way to test out if someone's not going to be follow directions when it comes to lead flow. And so that way I don't have to worry about giving leads to someone that's not really motivated. And so what this does is this allows me to go ahead and test people out. And only about 50% of the agents that go through our onboarding actually pass everything. Day two, I have onboarding, tracking systems, all that stuff, but it tells them, everything they need to do to set their account. Set up a Zillow account. Again, we're a Zillow Flex team, and I tells them to set up a Zillow account, and then they have to email me, letting me know that they set up their Zillow account. So that way I can go ahead and invite them to the team. I don't have to check in on them. I don't have to verify. This takes them through a step-by-step process. So that way I make sure everything gets complete. I even have videos here on how to set up, these are ones I created, because obviously with our mentors that we have that we give all of our agents access to just for joining our organization, those are national programs. But I run a Phoenix, Arizona based team. So what I've done is I've also created videos, watch setting up home search portal, right? It teaches agents how to go ahead and basically set up a home search portal if you're in Arizona. I have the same thing for signing in the transaction desk. I have all that stuff too. And then I have activities. Set yourself up for an MLS search. So check this off when you practice setting yourself up for an MLS search, right? So that way I know they're actually doing the activities, and I make sure the activities are done right after the videos. So that way they're not watching the video one day and then 2 weeks later they're going ahead and doing the activity and they forgot everything they did, right? There needs to be activities along with that. And then of course they know to check off the box. So when they check off the box, I know it's done. I can look in there and see where is this person at in the process. So, out of whatever organization you're in, it's important that you make sure that you have a university set up for yourself. So that way you can basically train and coach your agents and without having to do the work. Typically, again, like I mentioned, most agents that are starting a team, they're in production as well. They don't have the time to basically go out there and handhold and spoon feed and stuff like that. And so what this process does is this allows our agents to go through all the onboarding and training. And then typically I only have a couple meetings with them. Even when you get down like the buyer and listing presentation, so we have all of our buyer consultation training in here. Then at the end, I have a sales manager on my team. His name is Doug. They have to contact Doug, our sales manager, to role play the buyer consultation. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not expecting them to be perfect. Obviously, the only way to get really good is to do it over and over and over and over again. But this just allows me to go ahead and know, did they actually complete the buyer consultation? Because again, if I'm going to give them leads, I at least want to make sure that they have their buyer consultation dialed in, so I'm not wasting those leads on someone who doesn't know how to sell themselves and sell their value to their agents. Same thing with listing presentation, right? I have a listing presentation training in here as well too. This will teach them exactly how to do all the listing presentation stuff. And then at the end of doing all the listing presentation, they have to schedule it to role play a listing presentation with my sales manager, Doug. I know a lot of agents out there, they teach they give like listing leads and stuff like that. A lot of team leaders do. So this is important to have dialed in, so that way you can determine who's actually prepared to start taking those leads. And again, what you'll find out is there's a lot of agents that have anxiety that get into this industry that say they want to be successful, but then their actions prove otherwise. And this is a way to kind of test that out before you start wasting your resources on someone who's not prepared or who's not feeling like this is the right business for them. Again, 80% of agents fail out, within a few years. We want to find out, especially if you bring on new agents, we want to find out who's going to be part of the 87%, who's going to be a 13% that doesn't fail out. And they do that by actually going through the activities and holding them accountable. But then on top of that too, even like for example, client contract to close, right? This shows our entire closing process, right? If someone gets a new escrow, I created a video to show how to open a new escrow. Now, I'm not going to get millions of questions every single day whenever I have a new agent open their first escrow. How do I open an escrow? I've already created the video for them. Even if someone asks me, I can then reference the video back saying, oh, here's the video, send the link. This is the video on how to do this. If you have any questions, let me know. And the reason why videos are so powerful is because it gives the agent the ability to pause, perform the activities, and then keep going, right? Because a lot of times if you're training someone, you're going to go through it all over again. And a lot of times they are not paying attention, or you're going so fast that they're not paying attention to what's going on. This gives agents the ability to pause, do the activity, and unpause at that point as well too. But then even in here too, I also have all of our resources, preferred vendors, Zillow information, EXP system setups, contract documents, if someone's focused on agent attraction, I have all that stuff in there too. So this basically allows one place that all of our agents in a hub can go back to and watch any videos. And it's a day-by-day process of exactly what to do. And then since I do give Zillow leads, they have to basically pass all 12 days. And then once they do, they're able to get Zillow leads, and this kind of tests out that process. But then also in here too, so School is a great platform. You can use any other way, but also I have calendars, right? This shows all the masterminds that all of our agents have access to. And so they can go in there and they know exactly what masterminds they are. The Zoom links are already in there. I don't have to continue to remind people about about the meetings. School, our platform that we use, automatically does that. So again, it takes away a lot of the onus off me to go out there and continually remind our agents, because this system is kind of doing it for us, and it makes it more efficient, which then allows me to go out there and concentrate on money-making activities and things I need to do versus holding another agent's hands. So again, that's our onboarding training process. Very important to get dialed in. That's the number one thing. If you're a team leader, broker owner, whatever that may be, it's important to have that dialed in, because you need step-by-step instructions. I always say I make it idiot-proof, right? It's black and white. You know exactly what needs to be done, and it makes the process a lot easier for people, or for agents, as they're going through that as well too. So again, I appreciate you guys hopping on, listening to this video. If you guys do have any questions or ever want to look at what a partnership, especially if you're a team leader, want to get free coaching from me, get free coaching from our mentors and partners that we work with as well too. Join and want to look at what partnering with us looks like, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My cell phone number is 623-387-2688. Or also I'll go ahead and post a calendar link below to schedule a Zoom meeting with me. And I'd love to have a no pressure, discovery call with you to see if maybe a partnership makes sense. Or if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me as well too. Also too, don't be afraid to friend request me on Facebook. I love making new friends. Or follow me on Instagram as well. Facebook account, just type in Scott Kumler. Instagram, Scott Kumler AZ Realtor. You can send me direct messages on there as well. So hope you guys all make it a great day. Let me know if you need anything. Talk to you guys later.